IELTS General Writing Task 1, Lesson 3. In this lesson, we're going to look at how to write informal letters. And here's the example that I'm going to use. Let's go through the steps that I showed you in the first Writing Task 1 lesson. Here's the first step: read and highlight the question. So, you had arranged to meet a friend next week, but you have realised that you will not be able to go. I'm going to highlight meet a friend next week and not be able to go. Write a letter to your friend. In your letter, cancel the meeting with your friend and apologise. Explain why you will not be able to meet your friend and suggest where and when you could see each other instead. So that's step 1. We've read the question and highlighted the main information. Step 2 is to choose the tone. I've already highlighted your friend. When you're writing a friendly letter, it's going to be informal, of course. Step 3, a greeting and ending. Very easy. We'll just start with Dear James. I'll invent the name, and best regards at the end is fine. I'll show you some other possibilities later in the lesson. Step 4 is the purpose of the letter, the overall reason for this letter, for writing it. And there's a few things that we have to say in here, but the main idea is that we're sorry that we're cancelling this meeting with the friend. So I'm going to say something like, I'm afraid I have a bit of bad news. So that's the overall idea. You're writing with a bit of bad news that you can't meet. And number 5, we need 5 paragraphs. We're going to have a 1-sentence paragraph for the purpose, then the 3 points that you can see here, the 3 bullet points, and then an ending sentence or phrase to finish the letter. I'll show you those 5 paragraphs, of course, in a moment. Step 6, we need to know the paragraph aims. Well, it's very clear. We've got these 3 bullet points here, and we need to meet the requirements of each one. So cancel and apologise, explain why, suggest where and when. We need to mention all of those things. And step 7, the last step, let's think of some ideas quickly before we write the letter. Here are my 3 ideas. For the first bullet point, I'm going to say, unfortunately, I won't be able to meet, and apologise, so we'll need to say, I'm really sorry. Second bullet point, I'm going to explain, my boss has just informed me that, so I'm going to make an excuse about work. Something my boss is making me do means that I can't go to this meeting with the friend. And the last bullet point, where and when you could see each other instead, I'm going to say I'm having a birthday party at my house and invent a day when it's going to be, for example, the following Saturday. Now you'll see me put all of that plan together and write the full letter. So we start with the beginning and purpose. I'm going to begin with Dear James. I've invented the name of a friend. And then just before the purpose, I'm going to give a nice greeting. I hope you're well. Now the purpose sentence. I'm afraid I have a bit of bad news related to our plan to meet next Friday evening. That's the first short paragraph finished. Now we move on to the bullet points. Next paragraph then is bullet point 1. Cancel the meeting and apologise. I was really looking forward to catching up with you, but unfortunately something has come up and I'm not going to be able to make it. I'm really sorry to have to cancel, especially as we haven't had a proper chat for such a long time. As you can see in that second sentence, it's very clear that I'm cancelling and saying sorry. Next point. Explain why you can't meet. So, what's my excuse? You can begin with a question like that, or you can put a question in this type of letter, but I'll mention that again later in this lesson. So what's my excuse? Well, my boss has just informed me that I'm going to be speaking at a conference in London that runs from Wednesday to Friday. I thought I might be able to rush back on the Friday afternoon, but apparently we're being treated to an evening meal in the hotel and I'm expected to attend. So my excuse is that I'm going to be having an evening meal after this conference in London. Let's move on to point 3. I'll come back to the vocabulary later in the lesson, as I said. So point 3, suggest where and when to meet instead. On a more positive note, it's my birthday the following Saturday, and I'm planning to have a small celebration with family and close friends. I'll be cooking a meal at my place, and you're more than welcome to come along. So I've suggested where is at my place, my house, and when is the following Saturday. Finally, we'll have a final sentence and ending. Sorry about next Friday, but I hope to see you at my birthday party. Best regards, John. So that's my full letter finished. And if you download the worksheet attached below this video lesson on the website, you'll see the full letter written out, and you'll see that there's a task on there that asks you to highlight some of the good vocabulary and good features of the letter. I'm going to talk about those things now in the rest of this lesson. First, I'll just tell you that that letter would score a band 9. Why? Well, remember how letters are marked by the examiner. They look at task achievement. Did I achieve everything? Did I fulfill the requirements of the task? Did I completely answer the question? The answer is yes. Was the letter well linked, well structured? Yes. Good vocabulary and good grammar? Yes. It was a band 9 level letter. And if we focus on the vocabulary now, you'll see some of the things that make it such a high score, or give it such a high score. Let's look at the less common vocabulary. This is very important for examiners if you want a good score. And there was a lot of less common vocabulary in this letter. Not, remember, difficult vocabulary. We're not talking about big, difficult words. We're talking about vocabulary that not every candidate in the exam would use. Maybe because they don't know the words, or just because they don't remember to use them. They're not so common. So let's have a look at what I used that was less common. First, I'm looking forward to catching up with you. Catching up means when you see someone that you haven't seen for a while and you talk about all the things that you've done since you saw each other last. So that's a good informal kind of phrase. Next one, something has come up means suddenly there is something that I need to do. I'm not going to be able to make it. To make it here means to go or to come to the meeting. We haven't had a proper chat. A conference that runs from and to, using the verb runs there, is a bit different. To rush back. We're being treated to a meal. I'm expected to attend. On a more positive note, I'll be cooking a meal at my place. You notice that in the future continuous is a nice phrase to use. I'll be cooking. Next one. You're more than welcome to come. That's a very English phrase. You're more than welcome. And finally, come along. Instead of just come to my party, come along. A bit more informal, and again, a nice way of using an easy verb. So that's my list of good vocabulary that was a bit different, a bit less common. Let's look at a few more informal features of that letter. Words, for example, bit, chat, my place. Informal words that you definitely wouldn't use in a formal letter. Other features, linking, so, well, but, and, especially as. There's some good, easy linking in there, but that's perfect for an informal letter. Contractions, your, I'm, what's, it's, I'll. Instead of using the full words, you are, I am, what is, we can use contractions in this type of informal letter. Questions. So what's my excuse? You wouldn't do that in a formal letter, but in an informal, friendly letter, it's quite a nice thing to do. Ask a question. Next, exclamations. See you at my party with an exclamation mark. That's fine in this type of friendly letter. And finally, phrasal verbs. Catch up, come up. You might not use phrasal verbs very often in a formal letter, but there's some really good informal types of expressions with phrasal verbs that are definitely suitable for informal letters, and this kind of language is considered difficult because many people have problems with phrasal verbs. They don't mean what they seem to mean, so it's quite difficult for people to learn lots of phrasal verbs. If you know some and they suit or fit the context, it's good to use them, especially in informal letters. So those are some of the things that on the worksheet I've asked you to highlight: the less common vocabulary and the informal features. Now let's move on to the beginning and the ending for informal letters. How do we do it? Dear James at the beginning, very easy, and then you've got a few different possibilities at the end. Best regards, best wishes, see you then, speak soon, all the best. You can use any of the normal informal endings. It's not going to affect your score, but you need to get it right. Just use, if you're not sure, just use best regards. Then the first sentence stating the purpose of the letter. Here are some possibilities. I hope you're well. I hope this letter finds you well. I hope you enjoyed, maybe in the right context, I hope you enjoyed your holiday or something, if that's what the topic of the letter is. I'm just writing to let you know that. That one would be for telling your friend about something. I'm just writing to thank you for, if the letter is a thank you letter. I just wanted to write a quick letter to tell you, again for informing. So it depends on the purpose of the letter, of course, but you can use this kind of phrase, nice and informal at the beginning. Then the final sentence ending in an informal way. Again, it depends on the purpose of the letter, but here are some possibilities. I hope to see you soon. Hope to see you then. Enjoy your stay, trip, holiday, or whatever it is. Best of luck with your exam, maybe. It depends what you're writing about. I'm sure you'll have a great time. Keep in touch. Say hello to the family. I look forward to catching up with you soon. These are typical things that we tend to put at the end of informal letters. So maybe try and use one of them if the situation allows you to. And that's the end of this lesson about informal letters. You've seen a full letter and you've seen some of the features and vocabulary that makes an informal letter good. In the next lesson, we'll look at the idea of semi-formal letters. Is there such a thing as a semi-formal letter? What do you do if you're confused between formal and informal, if you're not sure which one to use? I'll talk about all of that in the following lesson.